Who do you say that I am? It's a great question, one that Jesus, in a way, asks all of us. But in this particular case, it's important to understand the context in which it is asked. They have arrived in Caesarea Philippi. Now, a lot of people mistake Caesarea Philippi for Caesarea Maritima. If you've ever gone on a pilgrimage to Israel, they take you to Caesarea Maritima, which is this beautiful Mediterranean harbor. It's a city that was built by Herod to curry favor from Caesar, but that's not Caesarea Philippi. Caesarea Philippi is in the hill country. It's up kind of in a kind of mountainous or hilly area. And the city is built adjacent to this huge rock face, sheer rock face. And in that rock face were carved niches, carved out into the very rock face. In fact, you can go today and still see them. And in each of those niches were statues of various Roman gods, including the emperors, who were also considered Roman gods. Now imagine for a moment that you're Jesus and you've arrived with your disciples and you're standing in front of this huge rock face with all of these images, graven images of gods. And then you turn to your disciples and say, "Who do you say that I am?" They have to tell you who they are. Who do you say that I am? In the face of all of these gods and all of this, who do you say that I am? And I think that question is much more poignant when we put it in that context, knowing that there's all these gods looking down on them from their niches. And Peter gets it right. Peter will get it wrong in a few minutes, which he always does, which is the beauty of our life too. Peter is us, right? We get it right, we get it wrong. That's Peter. But Peter says, "You are the Christ." And then he says something even more interesting. "You are the Son of the living God." We as Catholics celebrate a living God. We're about to partake in Eucharist, a living God. That's why we do it. It's what Christ says. You know, what Peter says about him. You are the living God. And he continues to be a living God in our lives. But then there's another piece that we miss. He says to you, "You are Peter, and even the gates of hell cannot stand against you." Well, that's kind of a nebulous comment, isn't it? The gates of hell. What does that mean? Well, interestingly enough, in that same rock face is a cave. And it was the belief of the Romans that that cave led to the netherworld. And there was a temple built over that cave, and the temple was to Pan, P-A-N-N. Now you're saying, who's Pan? You've seen him. He's the little guy with the pipes, with the hooves and the horns. Sound like Satan, you know, the furry legs. So now, imagine this. Peter gets it right in front of all these gods. And then Jesus turns to him and points at this temple to the netherworld and says, "Even the gates of hell will not stand against you." They're looking at it. They see it visually. This is not Jesus talking, metaphorically. It's the real deal that he's showing them. My brothers and sisters, we come together today to celebrate a living God that stands with us against the gates of hell. And today I would suggest there's probably more than one gate to hell right now going on in our world. You're all nodding. I see that, right? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. But yes, we have our statues to remind us, but in a few moments when we participate in communion, we will be once again reconnecting ourselves physically to that living God. And it was our good first Pope Peter that pointed that out to us. Amen? Amen. Amen.